I don't know how Twitter works. From what I've seen, it's basically a high school cafeteria overflowing with bullies and mean people, and the lunch ladies handing out meth. They have hall monitors. The hall monitors act like bouncers, and they toss out anybody who doesn't conform with their political view. The issue is that they completely ignore the annex of the meth heads and the derelicts. You can basically do whatever you want as long as you align to their political view. This has resulted in a platform that's essentially a cesspool that acts like an echo chamber for one political party. Anyone who has even dabbled in Twitter can see that it is slanted heavily to the left. Twitter has been passing their judgment on the right for years. They label anything they disagree with as disinformation and they squash it. They claim that they are protecting the people from disinformation and hate speech. The problem is that they seem to deem anything on the right as disinformation or hate speech, while ignoring some of the vile filth that comes from the left. They have also been incredibly wrong on some of the content that they have labeled as disinformation. Twitter and Facebook, along with most of the news media outlets, essentially squashed the Hunter Biden laptop story, released by the New York Post. They made an unsubstantiated knee-jerk reaction because it didn't fit their ideology. The hall monitors at Twitter jumped into action and halted the sharing of the link to the article. This gave cover to some on the left to label the story as misinformation and a Russian hoax. The mainstream media was only too happy to assist. Here's Wolf Blitzer and Adam Schiff on CNN.
Does it surprise you at all that this information Rudy Giuliani is peddling very well could be connected to some sort of Russian government disinformation campaign?
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin.
The issue is that the New York Post was shown to be correct in their reporting. The New York Times, the Washington Post had to admit it after the election of Joe Biden. Twitter was forced to admit that they were wrong for interfering in a story that was true, which has led to an investigation. Now, you may ask, if it's so bad, why do you pay attention to it? Frankly, I didn't until recently. At one point, I waded in ankle deep, then I decided to get the hell out of Dodge. I don't need that in my head. Also, for some, there isn't anywhere else to go. Some of these platforms have become so large, they're essentially monopolies. Smaller platforms have tried to edge in, but they were essentially squashed like bugs. Donald Trump has established Truth Social. It'll probably go nowhere. Frankly, Trump doesn't even seem to use it as much as he did Twitter. And let's talk about Truth Social for a second. First, it has a dumb name. It sounds like it was named by Trump's buddy Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy. I think that guy buys a bunch of stuff at the dollar store, slaps My in front of it, and sells it for $20. Actually, I know Mike Lindell wasn't involved in helping Trump name the platform, or it would have been called My Social Media. If you start that, Mike, I get a cut. If they really wanted a cool name for a platform, they should have named it Chirp. The logo could have been a bald eagle eating that Twitter logo. That would have been a cool way to give Twitter the finger. So Elon Musk has decided to buy the cesspool cafeteria depravity for $44 billion in cash. This has sparked a complete meltdown by the left, and they've put their hypocrisy on full blast. Quite frankly, the hysteria makes me like Elon Musk a whole lot more. All of a sudden, the hall monitors who have been censoring and banning people are worried about free speech. They aren't worried about protecting it, they're worried about the exercise of it. You see, they love free speech as long as they're the only ones using it. If anyone else does, that's a problem. On top of it, they're so tone deaf that they can't even recognize that they have been suppressing free speech for years. They use the term misinformation or disinformation so much that it became a label for anything they disagree with. Listen to this guy from MSNBC.
You don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election.
He just described exactly what the hall monitors at Twitter have been doing for years. They ban or dial down what they disagree with. They do it for three primary reasons. First, they love control. They're in a position of power over the users of Twitter, and they won't hesitate to use their power to shut you down if they disagree with you. Second, they fear the competition of ideas. They're afraid there are weaknesses in their ideas, and they'll do anything to keep that from being exposed. Finally, they think that you're all a bunch of idiots. You aren't possibly smart enough to listen to information and make rational decisions based on the information. You couldn't possibly know how to think the way they can. The acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk probably won't change it entirely. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, that people that are on the far right and the far left won't be happy. I'm good with that. Frankly, people on the far extremes tend to be obnoxious idiots. They tend to say things that are truly vile. My annoyance with Twitter was that they would allow vile filth from the left while banning things on the right that weren't even that extreme, aka the Hunter laptop story. I don't really want to get into Trump getting banned from Twitter. There's no denying he has said and tweeted some idiotic and tone-deaf things. What I want to point out is Twitter's statement about the Trump ban. Quoting from their blog, after close review of recent tweets from the @RealDonaldTrump account and the context surrounding them, specifically how they are being received and interpreted on and off Twitter, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. So it was not the intent, it was how it was interpreted. I have to ask, interpreted by whom? Look around Twitter. Ilhan Omar has issues with her anti-Semitic tweets, but it's okay because she deleted those. I can find a variety of left-leaning tweets that could incite violence. How about AOC stating that the whole point of protesting is make people uncomfortable? Uncomfortable how? I could take that to mean that protesters should do what they need to do to intimidate, scare, or harass the people they're protesting. Follow them into a restaurant, into a restroom, or their home. She would certainly condemn that type of statement if someone on the right directed that at her. How would that have been interpreted if it came from @RealDonaldTrump? You see, one can find fault in a short, hastily typed message and turn it into just about anything. The left-leaning hall monitors at Twitter, as well as most of the media, have gotten really good at it and used it as a tool to their advantage for years. Losing that is probably why they're so nervous. Ultimately, I doubt it'll change much, but Mr. Elon Musk, good luck, buddy.